So, hey, folks, we are joined today with the whole crew. We've got Noelle and myself, Michael, and we're here with Nanci and Cristina. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem at all.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And so today we're doing an audio one of these, and we hope that works well for you. But if there's some things that we talk about that are like, oh, we should put that on the screen, we'll still put it on the screen. If we talk about a dog park, we'll totally put a picture of it on the screen, that sort of thing. Otherwise, it's going to be more of a podcast style video where you're not going to be looking at our smiling faces. So thank you for taking the time. So guys, we know you well, obviously, but the people who are watching this video don't. Would you mind talking to us a little bit about why you decided to move here and where you moved from? What was that part of your life looking like?
We lived in Portland and it was very crowded and you had to plan everything around the trip. It was quite difficult. We moved here because it seemed a much more appealing place to live. It was much smaller and there were not serious traffic jams. And I lived in Madrid for a long time and talk about traffic jams. And I didn't drive in Madrid. I walked, took taxis. But I mean, crowded places are quite difficult because you have to plan everything around when the traffic isn't quite so bad. It has beautiful parks and it's just about the right size. I grew up in a really rural area, so I really wanted the convenience of a grocery store not too far away, and you could buy things and you didn't have to wait 2 years for someone to show up to fix things that were broken. It's really good for me. So it was much more of an appealing size for me as coming from Portland.
It's Corvallis compared to Portland.
Yes, Corvallis, it's so much smaller and I'm used to smaller places, although I'm also used to Madrid. Big.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd been in Portland for a couple of years, and there's so many things I liked about Oregon. Been there for a few years, coming from Southern California, and before that being in the United Kingdom. The rainy weather didn't faze me at all, and the Oregon summers more than make up for whatever winter seasonal affective disorder you might get. And it's a beautiful sunny day today, so it's not like every day is gray and rainy. But yeah, I think I really like the walkability of Portland, and I wanted to find a spot where I could still walk to places. I wasn't like, you didn't have to be in your car all the time. The free buses were a great plus looking at Corvallis. But really, I got to say, one of the reasons I moved to Corvallis, I knew I wanted to stay in the Pacific Northwest. I work in natural resources, so I was looking for potentially a permanent job and where there's that kind of vibe. But I started doing research on the internet and YouTube, as you do, and I found your videos. And the more I watched the tour of the neighborhoods and getting the feel for the vibe, getting the feel for the community, having that campus nearby, but not having it be solely about the students, knowing that because my mom's getting older, knowing that there's a lot of services around and also a lot of veterinary services. I think you said in one of your YouTube videos, because of OSU being right there, a lot of veterinary services popped up, and with kind of older dogs and having to make a lot of emergency vet trips across Portland, dealing with the traffic and all that, just knowing that all of that's around and that you can stay in Corvallis for almost everything, but you're still connected to Portland, you're still connected to Eugene and Salem, and you're not that far from the rest of the Pacific Northwest was really something I was looking for.
Wow, that's a great advertisement for both our YouTube channel and
for the vet.
But the YouTube channel was really helpful because we didn't know anything. We'd never even been here, So we started watching your videos, and they were so helpful.
Yeah,
because I started off with a large dose of skepticism, because most people have a large dose of skepticism about real estate agents. And you were so honest and so transparent, and it was fantastic. And the more we watched the videos, this makes sense. This is logical. This is a person. It's not just out to make a buck. And it was really refreshing. And the videos are great. They really helped us a lot because we've never been here. We didn't know a thing.
So thank you, by the way. And thank you for seeing us for exactly who we are in that regard. Refresh my memory, because we ramped up the YouTube stuff during the pandemic. Was that when we moved you guys? Was it right in the middle of that or after it? I feel like we did maybe a combination of in-person showings and virtual showings when you were moving here.
Yes.
2022?
2022?
Yeah, that's when we moved.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when we started watching the videos.
21. End of 21.
Okay. But it was a combination, right? Noelle, you were here. We were doing our synergy thing that we've got going alive and well since then. And you were working with both of us, virtual and in person. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Video. Noelle made us a lot of really good videos, and
It's a puns.
Yeah, and it was really that was also really helpful because we were in Portland and driving down to see the houses in person. That was fantastic to have you with your camera or wherever it was filming it all. It was really helpful. It helped us a lot.
And to add another thing for that, I know often like the wide angle view cameras can distort sizes. So that was something that we were like careful with. We didn't want to like just watch the video and come in person and be like, oh, this is completely different. And one of the things that we're worried about with our house was the bedroom sizes because they're quite small. And when we first saw the house, the camera, if anything, made them look a little bit smaller. And in person, they were bigger. I was like, yes, this is because wide angle cameras can do anything now.
Yeah,
So
they can.
it was really accurate video. So we really appreciate that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because we always tell people, or at least we try to tell people, like, hey, we can help you do this whole thing on video. We've got experience doing that, but we know that's not best practice. So we try to have appropriate expectations and make sure that actually serves people well. Very good. We don't want to go into, of course, oh, I live on 123 Main Street. We want to maintain internet privacy. Do you mind if we, in a very general sense, talk about the neighborhood that you ended up living in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I remember that we were looking at a bunch of different neighborhoods and we ended up landing in Timberhill in Northwest Corvallis. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you really like about that neighborhood, that part of town?
One of the things I really like is the street because they had, the first summer we moved in, they had several coffee mornings because there are only 12 houses on the street. It's a dead end street. So they had, we all got together. It was during the pandemic still. So we were outside. Everyone brought a chair and things to share. It was fantastic. And it was so friendly and it was really nice. And I know everybody's name on the street and it's not like we're best friends. We don't go in each other's houses or anything like that. But I know if I needed help, I know any of those people would help me. And that's a real.
So you do feel like you're able to integrate, it sounds pretty well into the neighborhood and the community.
Yes. And then the people were very open-minded and it was a really good experience especially when we first moved in. And the person across the street, when I was, I think the very first day, I was there by myself, so you weren't with me, but I think I was just looking around the house and she came over and introduced herself. It's very friendly. It's really friendly. And it's quite walkable. It's Timberhill and you can walk around the paths and walk to the athletic club and all that. It's a really nice neighborhood. We congratulate ourselves every day on landing there and also we have no trees, so we have solar panels.
Oh, that's right. There are trees in the neighborhood, but you don't have trees hanging over the house.
No, we have trees in the back, but we don't have any trees in the front. So we have the 20 solar panels on the roof and they're not blocked by anything. It's fantastic.
So I'm gonna play dumb for a second as I respond to you mentioning solar panels. We're filming this in early January. The Pacific Northwest has a reputation, let's say, for having really rough weather. And there's 4 people sitting at this table. And if I recall correctly, I'm the only one who doesn't have solar panels yet. Could you guys tell us a little bit about your experience with solar? Because that really does speak, it's like a proxy for what the weather and the climate are really like here. It sounds like this is viable, right? Could you tell us a little bit more about your decision-making process in that regard too?
Sure. I know that I wanted solar panels in general, just as partially as an environmental thing, partially as electricity prices go up. And we were planning on waiting for a while. As you move, you're dealing with larger dollar signs anyway. And our roof was about halfway through its lifespan. And it made sense to just, if we were going to do it ever, to just get it done as soon as we moved in. And as Nancy said, we have a really good setup for it, south facing, a lot of roof space, no trees right in front of it. I know there's like those options to rent it. We just bought them out. And for a while, I was like keeping very close tabs on the monthly solar amounts going in. There's a whole app that you can monitor. I haven't looked at it for a while. I think we break even so we got them earlier in the year. We were in solar debt for March, April, May. By June and July, we've made it up. And so we put more electricity on the grid than we use. We're with Consumers Power, so it's the nonprofit. So they also give us a rebate for that extra credit that we add to it. But yeah, every year by the end of the year, we make up for that.
So we just pay the standing charge on the electricity. I pay the bills. It's $34 a month. That's the standing charge. That's what they charge everybody, no matter
Just to stay connected.
just to stay connected.
Okay.
Right.
So that's interesting. I've heard some of our people say that it was like $10 a month, but maybe that's the difference between Albany and Corvallis or Consumers versus Pacific Power.
Yeah, I think there is a difference between the two,
I don't know.
the
But
charges. But
either way, it's low.
either way, it's very low compared to an actual electricity bill.
And you and Austin, Noelle, you guys just had your solar put on like a few weeks ago, right?
Basically, we almost had it installed completely up and running on the darkest day of the year. So we're really like starting from full scratch. And in fact, today, let's see here, my grid dependency, which is on the app, is at 86. A few days ago, we got to 75%. So it's slowly going through, but we're still getting quite a bit considering it's the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprising potentially if you have a reputation that it's always gray, because even when it's overcast, you get some sun for the solar panels. It's not completely dark all the time.
And you two, you said that you moved most recently from Portland. So obviously you're used to Pacific Northwest, but it sounds like you've lived in a bunch of places, right? You said California, Europe. So
Yeah.
okay. So it's not as bad as the reputation. And I think this is a good example of that, right?
Oh, no,
Oh.
the reputation is, I'd always heard that, or for me, California, which is quite dry,
Yeah.
Oregon and Washington, it rains all the time. I don't think that's necessarily true. We were really surprised our first summer here because it didn't rain at all. It doesn't
Yeah.
rain in the summer. In Britain, it rains in the summer.
I-
You don't know what you're going to get.
I grew up in the UK, and I was looking at like average statistics, and it rains about the same amount in the UK as it does in, I think Corvallis might have been Portland for the statistics. But then I looked a little bit closer, and in the UK, it rains that much because it rains throughout the whole year. Here, it rains that much because it rains a lot more heavily, but only in the winter months. And then from May onwards, so moving to the Oregon in general, the first summer, everyone was complaining because it wasn't a great summer. It was in the 80s. It was sunny every day. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Because I was used to bad summers being ones where you don't put your coat away. And you're prepared for the rain, and you might not ever get hot, and then you might have to wait for the next one to see if you get one sunny day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, we're really enjoying the summers. We're counting the weeks till the summer comes again, and we sit outside on the sofa with the dogs.
So that's a great segue. Let's talk about outdoorsy activities that you enjoy and also being dog lovers in this area. I know I'm asking you two questions at once because that's like my signature word. But what are some of your favorite things to do? Let's start with dogs. That's what you actually mentioned, right? What's it like being a dog owner in the Mid-Valley? And Noelle, I'm going to put you on the spot here as if you're one of the interviewers simultaneous to you being an interviewee or vice versa, whatever that is, right? Like I'm talking too much.
I think one of the great things about Corvallis is just about everybody, they may not be a dog lover, but they're used to dogs, and there are dogs everywhere. Everybody is into dogs. I took the puppy to the gas station, and the gas station guy gave her a treat. Everybody is into dogs. That's really nice. And also, you can just go outside and walk around. On Timberhill, there's all those paths you can. So I try to take the puppy on an adventure every day. Don't always manage it. So I try to take her on a new street or something like that and walk up the hill and see where the really fancy houses are. And there's so many places to go, and you don't have to use the car at all. It's really nice. And the neighbors on the street all like dogs, and there's dogs on the street and dogs in the neighborhood. It's a very good place for dog lovers.
Yeah, I think that was going to be one of the things I said about the neighborhood. It's really nice just being able to leave the house, be on a lot of paved paths. And in Timberhill, there are access on greenways with the paved paths as well. So if it is raining outside or it's a little damp, you don't have to go into the mud unless the puppy pulls you in that direction. But there's a lot of places to walk, even when it's wet, even if it's a little dark outside or a little bit gray or it's been raining solidly for a week. You don't have to go off trail in order to get outside to walk for miles. And when it is a little drier out, or if you venture into the mud, like that all connects up to Chip Ross, and it connects up to the forest areas all north of here. And so I think I haven't tried it yet, but you could probably walk to Salem just on trails, just straight out of the house. And it's really nice just to not feel like you have to go somewhere in order to go outside. But having a lot of variety of parks, like especially because we are socializing different dogs and all of that, like you can always go to a new area. And actually for the first time, I don't know why it took us so long, we started walking around just campus and just the beauty of the campus. And again, having an area where it's all paved, and I know like you worry about walking on uneven areas, like don't just have to worry about it. If you want to go someplace covered, you can go to, is it Starker Arts Park? Like we went there. And also like the beach is really accessible. So we took dogs down to the beach, and you don't have to go for very long if it's busy, or you can go on even just an afternoon when it's lighter in the day because it's only an hour. So it's really accessible, and it's quite neat, I think. You don't have to worry so much. And because one of our dogs is reactive and doesn't like other dogs, if you do have a dog park kind of dog, that's great. And there's loads of off-leash dog parks around, I know. But there's also Sniff Spot, which is an app where you can rent people's backyards, and there's quite a few sniff spots around here as well.
I've seen little signs for that.
Yeah, it's really good. If you have a dog that's reactive, if you have a dog that's really social, that you don't really need it. That if you have a dog that is terrified of other dogs, like our Border Collie is, then it's perfect because there are no other dogs there. It's just, you just have access to Some of them are backyards, some of them are an acre, and some of them are 2 acres. They're all different sizes, and they're all fenced, and they have water bowls out, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's great for dogs.
Especially if it's like a sunny weekend where maybe some of the hiking trails are a little bit more crowded. You can go there in the middle of Saturday and you're like, kind of see anyone if that's what you feel like that day. So you get a lot of privacy that way. And also what we were saying earlier about having all those veterinary access. I don't know, maybe you guys have done a count of how many vet services there are in Corvallis proper. It's more than 5. And then there's the emergency vet, 24-hour vet, and that's even before you start going into Albany. So having that, and then the wellness center with the hydrotherapy if your dog has arthritis, and the pool, I think they do laser therapy and acupuncture. Having all of that without having to be in Portland or a major city is really nice. And it's just something you just don't have to think about after that.
Love it. Yeah. When we were first greeting you two before we clicked record, you were informing us about the new puppy, which is really fun. And we had a brief conversation about how you had seen the video that Noelle and I did earlier called Dog Ballas. And you tell us a little bit more, because West Hills Animal Hospital now has this extra therapy and then these that we didn't even know existed back then, right?
Yeah, it's a wellness center. So it's associated through West Hills, but you can do your own referrals or a referral through your vet. It's not like you have to be through West Hills to do it. It's over by the Winco with all the different dentists and doctors' offices.
Professional street from the Winco. Okay.
Yeah, and it's nestled in that way. It's a little bit hidden, but they have a pool for dogs. Again, we do it half for health for our arthritic dog and half for just recreation. They have turned into major athletes after swimming, so now we take them twice a week and they love it, and they give us a little bit of peace afterwards. They also have one of those hydro treadmills for dogs, and we see a lot of dogs and the occasional unhappy cat doing a hydro, and it's just so nice to have that service for a dog that might not have mobility issues, and having that in a place that isn't the largest town or isn't a major city was such a plus, and having that be so close to the Timberhill neighborhood where we are was even better. It's so accessible, and everything in Corvallis is accessible. I learned very much through experience that everything in Corvallis is 15 minutes drive, or less, almost to the T. So having that available, and acupuncture, laser, they do a lot of different things. So as our dogs get older, we've had dogs in the past that had major mobility issues. One of my dogs is a border collie who will break a leg in order to get a ball. So knowing that I have an emergency situation where I could take her without having to go out of my way or drive to a major city has been really great.
She likes to cannonball into the water. She jumps up and just hits the water, splashes a lot.
So it may actually not be an exaggeration to say that we've got as good medical care for pets here than some places have for humans.
Yes, definitely.
Another thing to mention too is if your animal is having a special case scenario, you have the university vet hospital with all the imaging equipment and just top of the line stuff that you would need too, which is another huge plus, which I'm glad that you have not needed to have done.
Yeah.
But it is there as well, which even people from Portland will come down here and use it.
Yeah, with OSU being the land-grant institution, there's a lot of funding for veterinary science. So that's a big part of this. In fact, the first video that we got to do as part of this series is with a grad student at vet school. So that'll be one of the ones that you're in good company with here.
Yeah, well, the vet situation is terrific because a lot of people finish vet school and they don't really want to move because they like Corvallis or whatever, and they just stay, and then they open a vet practice, and it's perfect, really, really good. And they're also, I think, as dogs have become, especially dogs have become more important in families, then they make allowances for dogs that are reactive. And so the vet that we go to, Hello Vet, they don't have the dogs wait in a waiting room all together where they all bark at each other. You call and they come out and they get the dog and they bring the dog right into the room. And so the dog doesn't see any other dogs. And that's fantastic. We have rescue dogs like we do, because you can't really get them over the early trauma. They don't deal well with that. So it's really nice to have that kind of service.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about recreational activities, whether they're outdoorsy or otherwise. What are some more of your just favorite things to do as you get used to being in the Mid-Valley here?
I like the athletic club because I go to water fitness twice a week. And then I've made friends with the instructor. So she has a 2-year-old Belgian Malinois, and that dog and the puppy play together. So we get together and have the puppies play. But it's really nice having that athletic club right there. So I haven't really done much except watch a puppy and go to bed.
That's a really good lifestyle right from the get-go. And you're referring to, I'm assuming, the Timberhill Athletic Club, right?
Yeah. I used to walk, but I gave it up when we got the puppy. I don't have time. So I drive. But I could walk. It's close enough. But it's water fitness, and then you get out, you're all wet. It's cold. But it's really convenient, and it makes such a difference to your life when you have a scheduled class like that you go to. And it's fantastic for keeping you on the straight and narrow and saying, oh, I just won't go this week. You can't do that. Because where were you last week?
You've got the social accountability of the class.
Yeah, you do. It's really good for that. I really like it.
Yeah.
And adding on, and Timberhill Athletic Club, it's a private athletic club. We have a membership there. It's not cost prohibitive in the grand scheme of athletic clubs. And they've got a normal pool. They've got a warm pool for fitness therapy. Water fitness. They've got racquetball, pickleball, basketball, free weights, yoga classes, dance classes, all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah. Tennis. It's a great facility.
I couldn't go to the normal classes because I have absolutely no sense of balance and I just fell over. So the pool is good for me because you can't fall over the water. And so that's perfect for me because otherwise it was really embarrassing to fall over again. So no. Yeah. So the water fitness class for me is perfect. It's just right.
I've heard that's a very popular thing. So I'm glad you're taking advantage of it, especially living right there.
Yeah. We're so close by. It's really good. Awesome. And then another thing that I do, is I go to all the open houses up in Timberhill because I want to see the houses. I want to see the life. And because
you and my mom, right?
Now, once you buy a house, you get into this mode and you can't really stop. But there are different phases of Timberhill. And I think when we're the early phases and they have all these other phases that as you go up the hill, higher and higher. And it's really interesting. And the lots get smaller and smaller. The houses get bigger and bigger. And interesting.
I don't remember how many phases there are in Timberhill. And in my brain, I'm getting that confused with Willamette Landing, even though they're not the same. But for you viewer listeners, if you're newer to this whole process of thinking about moving to the Mid-Valley, Timberhill's got, as you can see on the driving tour, like the lower part of Timberhill where we have a lot of like 70s and 80s homes. Many of them are ranches. They're very accessible, just beautiful, a lot of pride and ownership. And then as you get further up the hill on 29th, you've got some newer stuff, year 2000 and newer. So there's some very different products, if you want to think of it that way, in terms of housing. Yeah. And Cristina, you were very patiently waiting while I was asking the question about additional just things you do for fun, whether it's outdoorsy or other recreation opportunities. What's your lifestyle like aside from the work component in that regard?
Yeah, I also go to the Timberhill Athletic Center, and it's been really nice, again, just for the proximity, but also because it is a club, and so everyone's super friendly. And when you move to a new spot, especially as you get older, it's harder to meet new people and everything. So I go to some of the group classes, some of the dance classes, and some of the group power classes, and have made friends, some of which are in the Timberhill neighborhood there. They do social activities once in a while. A lot of the time they're during working hours, but they did trivia night once in the evening, and that was pretty fun. And I think they did a cookie bake-off lately. So it's nice just to have that nearby and not feel like you're completely segregated and just surrounded by houses and nothing else. And that's next to a park as well. So I go outside, go on hikes a lot. And then this last summer, for the first time ever, I got really into gardening. And so I spent most of my time in the dirt, re-landscaping some of the front, planting flowers in the back, visiting a lot of nurseries. I went to Chenard's most of the time, went to Garland, started getting into all the natives, all the business and obsession.
You do the nursery Sunday back and forth thing. So
yeah. And just hit it just after they did a lot of the native sales, but I'm planning on doing that again this year. And it was really great. And I've never been very good at keeping plants alive. And I think Corvallis is going to do it. I think it's going to help keep the plants alive. And then having dogs and designing a yard that works for them. We have a whole berry section that's not toxic to dogs because he likes to eat everything. So like working on the berries, and it's been really nice. And it's really made the area feel like home with kind of that investment.
I think that's a big part of making the house a home is putting your own spin on whatever it is. I didn't do anything. I was a cheerleader, but Cristina did. That's
a valid job description here. Yeah.
I shoveled a little mulch, but not much. The front, Cristina dug it all up and put in all these different paths, mulch and chips and all these things. And with that and the solar panels, it doesn't really look like the same house. It is. It doesn't really look like it. So I think that's a really important part of buying a house is making it your own in some way.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And we're big fans of gardening here. I I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, as I've said in some of these other interviews, because I don't do much gardening myself. But I do love that about this area is just how beautiful and lush and green it is. I like having landscaping, even though I don't garden. Maybe that's the distinction. And Noelle and I had a big project. We put together Garden Vallis. It's like a half-hour long YouTube video. But I would say the bottom line that I took away from that project was that you almost have to intentionally kill things for them to not grow here. So
Pretty much.
So I do hope, Cristina, that your gardening makes you really feel like you got a solid green thumb going here. And there's always a little bit of figuring out along the way, no doubt. But I think you got a good setup for success just by having the interest and getting out there in the first place.
One thing that I found looking at some of the kind of more popular national nurseries, I was finding them through other avenues and just see, oh, that's near Corvallis. Oh, that's just south of Portland. And it's all these like national, sometimes international places for all these different things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is why everything grows right. It's based.
Oh, yeah. So Oregon, one of our main staples of income is actually nurseries. I think it's number 5.
Oh,
so there's tons of
Statewide.
Wow.
It's like nurseries. And like we have a very famous peony farm not too far away from here, tulips, dahlias, you name it, it probably came from Oregon.
We may have talked about this, Noelle, you and I in the office, but I recently took my wife and my mom and dad on a little Oregon outing that we're making some YouTube videos about too. And we were driving to Mount Hood. So the videos you're going to see on YouTube were about like Timberline Lodge and the Bigfoot Museum and stuff. But when we were driving by that area, there were huge nurseries, just plants as far as the eye could see. I feel like maybe one of them was Isley, maybe something like that. And I was like, I recognize the name from the tags on the plants I buy at places like Chenard's.
Yeah.
It's massive here, which I didn't know until Noelle informed me about some of this stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
I had no idea because I'm from California. So Oregon, north, Ashland and Medford, because my mother was from Boynica, so that's right over the border. And Oregon has no sales tax. And that's all I knew about Oregon.
That was all you knew.
That was I knew. No sales tax, Ashland, Medford. That's it.
And you're not supposed to pump your own gas, but that's changed, luckily.
I don't. I was a kid, so
I disagree.
Starting in
But now it's an electric vehicle. So that's what they get for changing the state law.
We'll have to make a separate video someday about pumping gas.
Here's how to do it. And it sucks.
Well, you wouldn't get any dog treats for your dog that way.
That's true.
Park and they come and bring me treats.
What are some more fun things that you really enjoy, even if it's not necessarily about like your life literally right here in Corvallis? You mentioned going to the coast. What are some other things you enjoy about the area in general?
Ooh, everything.
Good
The
answer.
trees.
Okay.
Big trees. I don't think I could ever leave the Pacific Northwest after living here for just a few years. Being around just nature in both an accessibility kind of way. We were talking about as you get older and as leaving the house and like walking around gets a little bit harder. There's no shortage of nature that you can find either from your car or from a paved trail, but then you can also go on backpacking trips. I haven't tried to do that yet. Being from the United Kingdom, backpacking means camping out in a field with like amenities by your door, but I'm hoping to get into it soon. My friend came and visited me last summer and we did a whole road trip down from Vancouver all the way down through different spots in Washington, did Mount Rainier, the national parks. I haven't been to Crater Lake yet, but it's just, I could just go on trips just in Oregon and maybe a little bit of Washington just for the rest of my life. And it would feel like the whole world. It's such a gorgeous place in the world. And yeah, anytime I'm outside, and especially in the summer, but in the winter too, when you force yourself to go out and get a good raincoat.
Yeah.
I just being outside and being a part of that ecosystem.
And Cristina, notice that you said raincoat, not umbrella, right?
Yeah.
We have this thing in Oregon about putting on a soft shell, but not using an umbrella for whatever reason. Is it that people will just assume you're a tourist, or is it because they blow away, or
Little column A, little column B.
little column
Yeah.
in?
I don't believe in umbrellas because I always poke somebody with it. So I never use them.
Gotcha. So when you do get down to Crater Lake, come to think of it, that's an Oregon outing that we need to do. I haven't been there in at least 20 years since I was like different stage of life on a family vacation or something. So take some good little pictures or little video clips on your phone, send them to us. We'll give you credit as like Associated Press. Yeah, totally. We'll give credit where it's due and we'll make a video about that, or we'll have to get down there.
Yeah, they do the 4 seasons either way. One of us can hit summer, one of us can hit winter.
I like the sound of it. Yeah. All right. Excellent. So along those lines, if someone is watching this video, listening to this video, whatever we're calling it, and they're thinking about coming here for, let's say, a reconnaissance trip, what are some of the things that we've been talking about that you would cherry pick to say, oh, if you want to get a good example, long weekend or week or whatever in the area, you should go do this, go check out this thing. Well, what would be some highlights that you would really point people towards so that they can get a feel for if they'd like it here or not?
I would say that we've just been, but to go to the campus because we hadn't gone to the campus. It's half the population of Corvallis during the year, right?
But that's true. And you're saying that as someone who's not affiliated with the university, it's still part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And just walking around it was gorgeous and big trees. And some of the buildings are really old. And some of them are not as pretty, but it's a really nice area. And I think that for anybody that was interested in living in Corvallis, it would be important for them to go and see what the university was like and how much it contributes to the life in Corvallis.
And that's something you should mention is that one of your hobbies is going to the library.
Oh my gosh, they're the best library.
We do a really
We
good library.
do have a really good library.
But tell us more about that because people listening to this might not know why. So brag about our library here.
Oh my gosh, it's for one thing, I know I haven't used it, but they deliver books. Yes, that's fantastic. I'm thinking in 20 years when I'm really old and they could bring me my book. But they have an amazing selection. It's really well done. It's well staffed. It's a fantastic library. It's the best library I've ever lived close to ever in my life.
Solid endorsement there.
Yeah. And that was living in Cambridge for a lot of years. And Cambridge in the UK, it had a good library. Not like this one. It's a really good library and I really enjoy it. I try to go every week and last time I went was a Saturday and I got so many books that I couldn't carry the bag to meet Cristina. So I said, I can just go to the car. And it's too heavy.
Can you get one of those vests for the dog to put a bunch of books on?
In the shape of a dog.
But it is a wonderful library. I really enjoy it.
So that's excellent. So campus is something that's really important to check out, the library and resources like that. What other things come to mind that you would point people towards?
As always, it depends on your reasonings and what attracts you to Corvallis. But when I took my friend, I was going through the question, what should I show her of Corvallis?
Yeah.
And we hit the beach. We were in Newport for a bit, and she went down there as well once when I was working. We had food on Sky High. It was like a summer evening. I can't even remember if it was the weekend or not, but there was just a really nice vibe. You could get drinks if you want, but there was also families and there was a sunset on the roof and they're selling like ice cream sandwiches and just being able to explore around downtown and the riverfront and having, I can't remember, you probably know better how many rooftop eating areas. There's a few around. There's 2 or 3.
There's 2 in particular. Thinking American Dream Pizza has another one that is fantastic. But I do know another place that's trying to open up a rooftop.
Does the view count?
The view does count. I would call it truly a rooftop. It's more of a penthouse view.
And I know that kind of North Corvallis tends to be one of the popular spots for hiking trails. So I would recommend like just the Chip Roth trails or just exploring because that's attached to a neighborhood as well. So it's not like you have to go out of your way.
Yeah.
And Bald Hill, Fitton Green, like any of those areas, just getting like a snapshot of downtown versus campus versus some of the nature trails and the fact that you probably won't hit 50 miles as you drive around to all these different places at all, actually.
We're sitting here just nodding yes to all of it.
Yes.
Because in retrospect, when we talk to people on the casual Zoom calls to help them before they move here, we often tell them Bald Hill or Fitton Green. Because Bald Hill, you've got paved areas that are flat. It's very accessible. Fitton Green, you can drive up a lot of that. And then you've got, I would say, like a light to medium hike with outstanding valley views. So those are great examples.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
And if you have a bike, you don't even have to drive. I think all of these are connected by a bike path. And I know they're working on getting Bald Hill, I think, connected up to Chip Ross and like all these trails.
Greenbelt Land Trust.
Yes.
They're doing a lot of
They're
good.
doing a lot.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is you can hike to Bald Hill, to Fenton Green, and then to the wineries that are just right over there. So you can have a wine quest if you so wish.
Yeah, and that is something else I forgot to mention that I took to my friend was Lumos Winery.
Yes.
Took her out there. She's a big fan of different wine. I was like, welcome to Oregon. It's like, I looked up wineries on Google Maps and I think it came up with 700 between here and Portland. Like, it's just wineries. That was another spot.
Well, I don't drink, but the wineries are beautiful. Just even if you don't drink, which like I don't, just going and sitting outside and you have often a really beautiful view and so relaxed.
And some of them have very good food too at the wineries.
Haven't eaten very much, but yeah.
That is a really fun part of being here. I'm in between. I wouldn't say I don't drink. I'm just not an enthusiastic, knowledgeable wine person, but I love going just to hang out and maybe try something and enjoy the scenery. Yeah.
For those who do really love wine, there are so many wineries.
I think you can get a wine passport.
You can actually through the Willamette Valley Pinot Association, I think. I'll have to look it up again, but there is a passport.
A lot, and I think get like customized merchandise. Yeah.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest, we really do enjoy our beverages. We've got great craft breweries, we've got great vineyards, we've got hard cider, and we've got distilleries. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yes.
Distilleries, not stilleries. Okay. Yeah. Really good, fun stuff. We talked about wineries a little bit just now. We talked about like Sky High Brewing, some of the rooftop stuff. Do you have any favorite restaurants that you want to give a shout out to put on people's radar as well?
Ooh, we don't eat out all that often,
It's
but
gotten a lot
everywhere-
more expensive than it used to be. So.
Yeah, I don't think we've had anywhere that we didn't like. We eat at, they've rebranded recently, KH for the kind of Vietnamese food.
Pho.
KH Kim Ho.
Oh,
Yes, it was Kim Hwa's, now it's
Kim
KH, right?
Yeah, that was really good. All the Mexican food that we've had here has been really good. But like I said, we've maybe eaten out 6 or 7 times in the last year. That's not something that we've hit out a lot. Laughing Planet is always a good hit as well. What's the new chicken place that we've tried that?
chicken shanty.
The chicken shanty.
Is that the one on 9th Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I like that one. You get to pick out a bunch of different sauces, have your like is it chicken and fries or?
Yeah.
Fries, basically.
Chicken fries, chicken sandwiches, that kind of thing. But yeah, we mostly cook at home, and that's one of the other advantages of Corvallis is there's so many grocery stores. So we're over by the Winco, which is really nice strip mall, but then you have 3 Safeways and a Fred Meyer and
Trader
TJ
Joe's.
Maxx. That's it. So what we don't do in restaurants, we do a lot in grocery.
Do you hit the farmers markets too? Yes.
The winter one.
That was a quiet but enthusiastic yes.
That
Honey.
was
Honey.
my other recreational activity over the summer was discovering Oregon raw honey.
Yeah.
I started eating a lot of raw honey. It's just I didn't like honey for the first however many years of my life, and then I tried raw honey and okay, I just didn't like commercial honey. This honey is delicious, and it's been really fun. You got a lot of filberts, not hazelnuts, but filberts.
You're
and-
officially Oregonian when you say filter.
And we put fruits in everything. Filbert fudge, filbert brownish.
Yes.
So good. So good.
And yeah, it was really fun. We had to learn a little bit how to get down there for parking. I think we've started mastering where's the correct places in Corvallis are to park on Saturday mornings.
Where would you recommend?
So the way I got in here,
Michael, here's our trade secret.
the one by the Dairy Queen had a lot of parking spots
Yep.
every single time that I've tried it. So I go via Safeway and then go across the parking lot and then I can go right there. And that's been easier. I haven't tried it on a farmer market morning, but I think that should miss most of the foot traffic.
There's a number of free public parking lots, like the one next to Dairy Queen, that have that blue sign, 3 hours per
Yeah.
year, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, trade secrets.
Some people covet those secret spots.
Really?
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's like when you ask somebody who loves to go mushroom picking their spot, and they're like, no, I'm not telling you that.
Which is also a great way to find out if you're inner circle with your friends or not. So
Add back to the recreational activities. Speaking of the Greenbelt Trust, they do volunteer activities. And so I just started doing one of those. Most of them are during working hours, so I can't do those slots. But I think for the first time this year, they did like a wreath making class and restoration activity. So you go and cut down Douglas firs and oak restoration habitat and then use those branches to make. I am not very good at crafts, so I wasn't so good at actually making the wreath part. But it was fun to just get out there and walk around and feel like you're doing some good for the habitat. And that also inspired me to go for the first time to Donovan's Christmas tree farm and cut down a tree for the first time. So that was, again, another export of Oregon is Christmas trees everywhere. Beautiful
and we got
Christmas
the-
trees.
We got a Christmas tree in Christina's Sonic, and that wasn't easy. Just push. Oh, but we got it in.
you got it in the car, not out the car. That
In the
is
car,
just-
in the car.
In the car.
It was the top was bent a little bit. Oh,
5
the
foot
car
tree.
entry. I think that your car might be a car of holding then. One of those. Just everything goes in.
Yeah.
It's like a bag of holding. I don't know.
IKEA furniture.
I was impressed you could cut the tree though, because I was a cheerleader again because I don't bend over very well anymore. She did it. She got the saw from the people and she saw it. She said, "I can't do this." And then the next thing I knew, it was on the ground, and we dragged her back to the Sonic. Pushed.
One of the things that you mentioned when we were talking about places to go out to eat is that it is a little bit more expensive. So I don't want to have this be one of those like leading the witness sort of things. I want you to please absolutely feel free to disagree and just share your own thoughts. But when it comes to cost of living, I feel like housing here is a little bit more expensive, but other things are still pretty normal and pretty reasonable. What are some of the things that you've found to be noteworthy in either direction? Having lived in Portland, for example, much bigger city, and California as well. What's cost of living like for some of the normal everyday things around here in your experience?
Certainly the electricity cheaper because they have the solar panel.
All right.
Those prices are only going to go up. So
Yeah.
the bills are not very high. And they don't seem very high to me.
Utility bills.
Just the water bill and the gas bill, which we don't use very much because we have a heat pump, and so then we don't use much gas for the furnace or anything like that. So the bills are not very high. So but in Portland, I think I blocked that out. It was so awful moving.
Yeah.
No one saw it.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper than Portland.
I think it's
I'm
cheaper
trying
than
to think of specific things. The housing market is cheaper than in Portland.
Yes,
And it's
yeah.
definitely cheaper than Southern California. And it's cheaper than in the United Kingdom. I think if you compare it to other places in the United States, it's definitely higher. But all the places on the West Coast, I think it's very reasonable. And I think given that it is slow growth, finding the inventory might be a little bit harder, and certain areas might be more expensive than others. But from different experiences across the West Coast, having this size of community, I think
it's not unreasonable.
No. As far as the food goes, I think I don't notice much, but there's just two of us, and so we don't. If we had 6 teenage boys living at home, I would probably notice a bigger variation, but we don't. So
yeah. And I think the things that are expensive are things that are nationally expensive, like childcare and housing costs. And things like that. So I haven't noticed like any sticker shock from moving from Portland down here where it's going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Maybe the water bill is probably the closest, but water bill in Portland was pretty much the same because it pays for a lot of different things.
That's true. Our water bill here, it's a combined water sewer bill that has
Yeah.
some random stuff added onto it. The city buses are free because it's just a little surcharge on
Yeah.
the water bill. I don't know
Yeah.
how those related, but politics. Okay. But it still doesn't seem like it's an outlier. It's
No.
not like a crazy amount or something for you. Okay.
No.
No, and also the bills seem to be pretty much standard throughout the year. There's not a lot of variation. I haven't noticed much variation.
And I know electricity has been the talking point for a while, and I think Consumers Power is a non-profit, so I know that prices are going up, but it doesn't seem like they're going up as much as they could if it wasn't a not-for-profit. So that's been quite nice as well.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know as much about Consumers Power. None of the houses that Rhea and I have lived in have been with consumers.
Yeah.
But my understanding vaguely is that they're a co-op or nonprofit or something, which does seem pretty intriguing.
I think they start north of Walnut. I think that's where they start. So we're just in.
You're literally like just over the line.
Just over the line.
Being
So
in
I think,
Timberhill, yeah.
I think Witham Hill, I think they're with Power, whatever their other
Pacific
power.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they mostly cover rural areas. So I know that they go north and north.
We were just talking about that last night because we've hardly had the power go off at all because we've been here for 2.5 years and it's hardly gone off at all. And also because we're in a neighborhood, then we decided Consumer Power, because they're mostly rural, they go right for the neighborhood first because that's more people. When the power does go off, it's off for a very short time. We haven't had any power outages at all to speak of.
I don't think of brownouts and power blackouts as being a really prominent thing on my mind at all. Living here, it's very infrequent. And I know in some areas, for whatever reason, that's a big thing.
I grew up in a
It's
rural
also
area,
too.
and when the power went out, it was out for a week. Potbelly stove, firewood.
Yes. In your time here as you were getting settled in, was there ever a moment when you were like, oh, this is home, like we really made a good decision? Did you ever have a turning point in any regard where you're like, yeah, we did it, this is it?
Every day. Every single
day.
day, we talk about what we appreciate about this house. And
Yeah. We had a little gratitude list, and I think especially when you from Portland, because I was working during the end part of that move, I think from that day onwards, it's just been grateful. 1, the moving process is over. 2, that we're in Corvallis. I think for me, I go and go trees every day and just go, it's really nice. And like I was saying earlier, I can't imagine not being in the Pacific Northwest and not being in this area. And the house itself, the neighborhood works so well with our specific situation. And works well for the dogs and being able to customize the yard. I had been renting for a very long time, and just being in a house where I can customize it, or if there's something wasn't working, I go out and fix it or customize something. So that's been a really great process too. But yeah, every day.
I'm so glad to hear
love
that.
it.
That's very reaffirming for us personally and professionally. It's nice to hear that our hard work is leading into people like really feeling like they've got a lifestyle that matters.
Yes, it's been fantastic because the house it wouldn't be the perfect house for everybody, but it's the right house for us.
Yeah.
And it's the right size, and the yard is good, and the dogs can go outside. It's got a big lot, and Christina can exercise her creative instincts.
With
And I can
3,
cheer.
yeah.
It's great because it's got a lot of flexibility, because there's the front and then there's the back that nobody sees, and throw things back there. And it's just really the right house for us, and it's been fantastic. Really good.
I'm so glad to hear.
Yes.
Like,
It's really
Yeah.
nice.
And I remember when we first started working with you, you said, be curious to see where you end up. And it's always a roller coaster of emotions getting a house. And I
Oh.
know that we didn't get the first house that we put an offer in, and you just have to let that slide and keep going. And I think about that and I go, ended up here. It's hard sometimes because life gets busy and you just take things for granted. But I'm trying to just go, nice. I'm really grateful that we ended up here and that we worked with you and you helped us find things. And also, you continue to help us because I don't know any handyman in this area. I don't know where to go. I don't all these kind of. So being able to like have feeling like an established community before you go in, having
really
moved around
helps,
a
yeah.
lot, like when you don't know anyone and you don't really know who to talk to or who to ask or who to get recommendations from, that's been really nice. So.
It's been really nice. And the other thing is, one of the wonderful things about Corvallis is because it's not a huge place. So everyone treats you as if you were a human being, which we all are. And the people at Ken's Car Center and everybody has just been so friendly and so generous with their time and whatever they did. It's really been a wonderful experience, especially after living abroad and living in different parts of the United States. Because I grew up in a small town, and small towns are like that. A really small town is like that because everybody knows, they know your parents or your brother or sister or whatever. They know you. So of course they treat you like a person because you're a person. But in Corvallis, it's the same, even if they don't know everybody in your family.
We enjoy getting to be a resource for people. It's not just about buying or selling a house. We want to help connect you with car mechanics and dentists and whoever you need. We've got all these relationships for a long time. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you lean on us for those things too.
it really helps. It's made such a difference to how you feel about a place because you don't know where to take your car.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
What do you do?
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no,
I was going to say fun Corvallis story. So we work with Harry Wallace. So they,
Construction contractor
yes,
that we like.
yes, that you recommended. First summer that I guess it was spring that we moved here, we discovered that foxes swifts like to nest in the chimney. And we discovered this when one threw the chimney into our house. And I didn't know what it was. And we have a lot of camera footage of us trying to get the bird out of our house, followed by a nest of baby foxes swifts starting nesting in the chimney, not wanting to continuously have our dogs barking at birds flying into our house or have birds into our house at all. Harry helped us build a little foxes swift home in our fireplace with it's a archway barrier with a little handle so we can pull it out in case the foxes swift fall down into the chimney, which they do.
Really?
And to block that whole thing out. And so now every year, last year was the first year that we had it, I might paint it or something like foxes swifts live here, but we have a whole fox swift habitat thanks to Harry Wallace Construction.
Could you send me photos of all of them?
If it's okay, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, because I definitely want to see it. And then also, like, maybe pitch it to some of the OSU professors because they're trying to increase fox swift habitat.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Noella is very active in the Willamette Valley Birding Symposium and Society. It's an
No, symposium.
Symposium. Whoa.
Yeah, there's the Audubon Society.
There we go.
Yeah.
So for those of us that know a lot about like various species of goldfish but not birds, can you tell us a little bit about the significance of that?
Foxes swifts, they're also known as chimney swifts.
Yes,
They're
chimney.
They're very specifically chimney for this purpose. They're really famous because they are migratory birds, so they're protected by the Migratory Bird Act. So if they get into your chimney, you're not supposed to remove them. And the reason why they go into your chimney is part of their life cycle is they like to nest or sleep in tree cavities. You know what's the closest thing to a tree cavity? Chimneys. In fact, if you want to go and see some fox swifts, going bring back sky high, you can actually see Vox swifts going into the chimneys around downtown Corvallis during the summer.
We feel our house.
Yeah, you don't have to go that far. But because we're losing more of that kind of habitat with huge cavities and people are not having chimneys anymore, we're losing more of that habitat. There's a huge chimney that was built over in Albany that was used as a designer habitat, essentially, which I need to research and see if they've been successful in bringing more Vox swifts. But there's a huge chimney up in Portland that everybody goes out to actually go see these tons of Vox swifts going through and entering into the chimney. It's a really beautiful sight.
I was pretty sure that was the type of bird we were talking about because I'm thinking of H's house on 17th right now.
Yes.
But I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page, and I appreciate your explanation there.
Yes. Yeah. So please send me.
Yeah.
Those.
I didn't say that we do the chimney that they use. We don't actually use that fireplace.
You're not cooking
don't
the
talk
Vox
about
Swift.
We don't even.
I think that much was the clarification is good. Yeah.
Other than the wonderful advice about how to deal with Vox's swifts in an appropriate manner, what advice do you have for people thinking about moving into the area?
Advice.
Yeah, for moving into the area, what advice would you give future family members, friends, thinking about moving into our area? What are some pieces of advice that you would give them?
Okay, as long as it's advice that do as I say, not as I do, go outside in the winter months. It sneaks up on you. Like November is fine. December is usually fine. By January or February, if you get in the habit of staying inside, you will start to feel the weather. It's not particularly cold. It's been really warm this winter anyway. And so once you get outside, it's fine. It's the forcing yourself to get out there if you're not used to it. Especially, I have a lot of coworkers in different parts of the States, and they always talk about how terrible the rain is in the winter. It doesn't bother me too much, but I do find myself staying inside a little too much. I think getting outside, going to those paved areas, just experiencing, even if it's just for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, when you come back inside, it feels a lot better. And the same with doing indoor things as well. So like going out, going to one of the bars downtown, just experiencing things and not feeling, okay, it's the winter months, time to hibernate until the summer.
Don't hibernate. Go play outside. Fear no rain. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And plan something to do in the summer too. I found that's been really helpful, like thinking about a road trip or going someplace and just thinking about it that way. In terms of other advice, I think something that I haven't done enough in the couple of years as life keeps ticking by is really exploring Corvallis. So I found really early on some parks and some areas that I really liked, and they're great, and I kept going. But then I kept going to different parks, and there's, I don't know how many parks there are in Corvallis, but just making an effort to go to different parts of the town and different parts of the area
Sure.
and explore, because for a small town, there's a lot to explore on foot, on bike, in car, on a free bus.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else that you would give as advice or anything else that you would do differently in your journey here?
It's been such a positive experience. Really, it's been such a positive experience. And we do talk about what we're grateful for every day, which is terrible, but we do this and this and this and this and this and this. It's so many things. I started writing on the calendar and I gave up. It was a long list, and
I love it.
it was really good.
Speaking of things that we're grateful for, we really appreciate getting to be a part of your team and really just getting to connect with you. And thank you for taking your time to do this so that it could be a resource for other people too. I mean, that means a lot. And the relationship that we get to have with you guys means a lot too. This is always more than just selling a house. And even though we manage to stay busy and have fun, we do want to stay connected. So it's lovely getting to see you and do this today. So thank you both.
Thank you.
And folks, if you're enjoying checking out the resources like this, please do let us know. Do all the normal YouTube stuff, hit subscribe so you don't miss our other videos. And don't be shy. If we can help you out, we're never too busy for you. And we just absolutely love getting to even hop on those casual Zoom calls or phone calls to start the conversations before we even do home buying consultations. So let us be a resource for you as you even consider making the move. It'd be fun to connect. As we like to say, thanks so much, and
Bye for now.